Today I'm here to share with you a work in progress, a spinning project in progress, as well as a weaving project in progress. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits, a videocast about knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can visit me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. It is the day before Thanksgiving here in the States, and so if you're watching this on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I hope it is still a joyful time for you, even though it might look a little different this year. I hope you're able to connect with people in some shape or form, even if it's not in person. I'm coming to you from coastal South Carolina. We're having a beautiful sunny day. It's about 70 degrees. No complaints here because I'm soaking up all that warmth to carry me through the winter. Next week it should be more seasonably cold. It should be mid-50s, so I will be pulling out all the wool, all the wool. I will be wearing all the wool next week. I wanted to make it really cozy in here today, so I lit one of my candles. This is actually a candle from my October Glow Club, which is my yarn and candle club, and this is fresh brew, so it is a delicious blend of espresso and vanilla. I think I have some hazelnut in there as well. It's such a warm, it's a warm scent. It's so nice for fall, but it's great year-round as well. So this was a club scent, fresh brew, and I am burning that scent today. And then as far as what I'm drinking, it is warm enough. I don't need my insulated mug. And so I pulled out one of my favorite teacups. This was gifted to me from Shauna, who was the dyer behind Adelaide Cottage forever. And I love this mug because I love blue and white. And it's imperfect, which I think is really neat. And it's the perfect size mug. So I'm drinking peppermint tea today. The reason is because all of my stevia is gone. I have run out, and you know, some tea flavors just aren't as good if they're not sweetened, and so I went with the peppermint because it's not only one of my favorite flavors, but it really tastes great without any sweetener in it as well. So I've been really busy crafting. I've been super into all three of my main crafts, all having to do with wool. So let me share with you my knitting project, which is in progress. Last week I shared with you 3 beanies that I had hand spun and knit, and those were all finished for my littlest kids. And then this week I am in progress with this hand-spun, hand-knit beanie. How beautiful is this? I shared this yarn with you last week. This is a BFL combed top that I purchased from Dandelion and Daisies. I am 95% sure. I think that was maybe about a year or 2 ago. I don't really remember, and I don't know the colorway name. Yes, so this is how much I have left. I am doing a very simple beanie. This is, I cast on 100 stitches on a US size 4, and I knit about I knit a 1x1 rib for about 1.5 inches, and then knit 1 row around, and then switch to a US size 6. And I can actually give you that metric because I have those on right now. That is a US size 6, which is a 4mm needle. And I want to say this is about 7.5 to 8 inches from the bottom. I did write some notes, so I will put them in my show notes below. And right now I'm decreasing. So those decreases are just happening. They're great. I'm decreasing by tens. And so basically what I did to start the decreases, I did a knit 8, knit 2 together all the way around, then knit 7, knit 2 together all the way around. And I will continue until I'm only doing knit 2 together 10 times, and then I will finish at that point. But let me give you a close-up of this. I'm also 95% sure on this project that this was a fractal spin. So probably what I did is I split the entire top lengthwise into half, and then took one half and maybe split it into half again, and used that for my first ply. And then my second ply, I probably split it into 4. And it ended up with this really cool stripes pattern. I think that's really neat. I am just absolutely loving how that's knitting up. And that yarn is just the most delicious barber pulled yarn. Definitely my favorite type of hand spun yarn. So I am just enjoying knitting this so much. I'm so happy my daughter picked this out for herself. She's so funny. She's 10 and she loves autumnal colors. So mustard and rust and deep teals. She loves all those colors, and I do as well. So I'm so happy she picked this out. It's going to be beautiful on her. She has the same coloring that I do, and so we're true autumns. We look good in these colors. And if the weather holds up and it's been as mild as it has been, then I probably will just give this to her for Christmas. Otherwise, I may give it to her next week when it's so cold. So that's all I've been knitting on this week, and I will be finishing that up. And then I'm going to turn my focus toward gift knitting for anyone else who needs gifts. I probably will be doing a mixture this year of knitting small projects as well as weaving. So I'm really interested to see what I come up with in the next couple of days as far as gifting some handmade items. The next thing I want to talk about, though, is if you have been watching the past few episodes, you'll hear me chat about how I wanted to use some of my Hedgehog fiber of the month club and use it for a larger project, like kind of combine it. And I played with the idea for a little bit. I finally came up with just doing a really cozy blended sweater for myself. And this will be the first hand spun sweater I've knit for anybody, much less an adult size. So it could get really interesting. Last week I showed you the sample that I had, and this week I actually have one skein completely finished and dried, and I have made quite a progress in my spinning this week. This is the first skein that is completely finished, and I'm going to insert a photo of all of the fiber that I used in this project. So the photo that you are seeing right now, it is the second, it's the top right. You'll see it has bright yellow, bright pink in it. And then it's the fiber right next to it, which looks like kind of a gray blue tweed. It was a woolen prepped yarn, so kind of a roving. And so both of those I spun the same way, and I came up with this gorgeous springy 2-ply. So this was an amazing blend of two different fibers. The photo that I showed you, the pink and the yellow fiber, it was a 50-50 blend of merino and baby camel, so incredibly soft and fun to spin. And then the second fiber, which was the one right next to it, it was kind of a roving prep, so it was more the fibers were every which way and not all smooth and going one direction. And it was mostly merino with some viscose, which makes the little tweedy bits in it, if you will. And that was more of like a gray blue. So this turned out to be a very beautiful yarn. I love this. So from afar, where you're seeing on the screen right now, it looks kind of like a gray, brown, maybe some purple, pink undertones. But up close, it's just really magical. It's so beautiful. And this is how I prepped all the fibers. I divided them in half. So as long as the combed top or the fiber was, I split it in half. And then I stripped actually both halves into 4 pieces. So I ended up with 8 shorter pieces throughout the whole fiber. And if you have seen Hedgehog fibers, the way that their top is dyed, it's all random. So you don't get color blocks. It's not hand painted in the sense that a lot of spinning fiber is prepared currently. And so just by dividing it in half, it gave me a little more flexibility to sample and to, I don't know really why I did it that way. I guess it was just easier to pre-draft a little bit, because I did pre-draft each section a little bit. And then how I spun this fiber, I spun it on my Kromsky minstrel spinning wheel at an 8.5-to-1 ratio, so fairly slow. I wanted all the fiber to be spun into a soft single. I did not want it over twisted. I didn't want a lot of twist into each single. And I did a continuous backdraft, which is just going back and then smoothing. Let me show you with my hands. So you're holding the fiber and you're just drawing back and then smoothing, drawing back, smoothing. I did that about 4 to 5 times, and then it would let the wheel draw it into the bobbin. And that's how I spun all of my fiber for this project. I tried to be very, very consistent. I even counted my treadles. And I've taken lots of notes. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm taking lots of notes and I'm labeling all my fiber from now on. And so how I applied all of these, I applied on a very high ratio. I think it was my highest ratio, which is like a 15-to-1. And I did about 10 treadles per the length of my fingers down to my hip. That's how I apply. And it just ended up with a gorgeous twist angle. I wanted a fair twist angle in this just to reduce pilling. It might not be the most comfortable when I go to actually knit the sweater. I think it will be okay though, because the way this turned it out was just stunning. I am so happy how this turned out, and it will be really interesting how the other skeins turn out, and of course I will show you when I have finished with them. I'm actually all done spinning for this project, which is crazy, but I ended up with, I think all in all, end up with about 1,000 yards. Hopefully it's enough for a sweater, but I do think it will be about a DK weight. And so, yeah, I'll just continue with that and keep you updated how this project is going. Like I said, it's the largest project I've ever spun for, and it's been super fun. I've enjoyed every moment of it. And so, yeah, we'll see how it continues down the road. Okay, let me lean over. I'm going to grab my loom and show you the new project that I warped on my loom this week. If you watched last week's episode, you will remember that I showed you 2 skeins of yarn, one this pink yarn, and the other a hand spun that I had done 2 years ago, maybe. This is a Rambouillet from Spun Right Round. I believe it was just colorway number 12. It didn't really have a name. And I'm pretty sure I tried to spin this in a fractal, using a fractal method, which just means, having all the colors blended up into a really nice contrasting barber pole, because that is hands down my favorite look of handspun. And so what I did this week is I warped the loom with this beautiful baby pink yarn, and I'm not completely done. As you can see, I've actually warped it, but I need to finish doing that very soon. But I did prep my shuttles, so they're all ready to go, and I'm so excited to start this project. This will be a scarf for my oldest daughter. She has decided that she doesn't really care for hats. She's almost 14, so she, she has her own likes and dislikes, which I appreciate. But this is my Kromsky Presto loom, which is a 10-inch rigid heddle loom. It's a perfect size for a scarf, and I wasn't sure if I would do a scarf on this one or if I would go to my large 32-inch loom, which I just purchased fairly recently, and I just decided to go with this because it is a fingering weight, and I think it will end up being a good project. So what I did is I warped this. I did film start to finish so far on this, and so keep an eye out on my channel. It will end up being its own little short kind of start to finish project video as soon as I finish this up. And so I will be filming more of this when I start weaving, and yeah, so this will be really, really pretty. I will give you a close-up of this shuttle so you can kind of get an idea of what this will look like. So here is how I prepped my shuttles. I kind of went overboard, maybe a smidge, putting the yarn on here. I really wanted to maximize the amount of yarn I put on, and so it's a little bulky. I don't know. I may regret that, but I can always unwind it into a little ball if it's a little too thick. I'm really looking forward to this project. I love to weave. It's just very soothing and it's very rhythmic. I love seeing it come together. And so I will get started on this project very soon. I always weave. Well, I don't always weave, but I weave a lot in my studio just because it's a new thing and little hands love to touch all of my equipment, and yeah, I need to just keep it out here for a little bit. This is a really great size loom though. This is so easy to carry around. As you can see, it has enough heft where it stays put, but it's also small enough and lightweight enough where I can just carry it around. It's on a stand. It's a really great loom. I'm really happy that I purchased it, even though it's limited as far as obviously the types of projects you can weave on, but it will be great. Even if I don't use it for a lot of projects, it's great to sample, and then obviously for smaller projects as well. So stay tuned for that and the progress on that. And like I said, I will have a separate video all about this project. Well, I think that about wraps it up for my works in progress this week. I feel like I have a lot of things going on, but talking about them, I think that I feel like it's a lot because it's they're thought out, and I've been taking notes, and so it maybe seems more than it actually is. So we'll see. Hopefully it won't be too much and I can actually finish these projects as I go and I don't lose steam, but I don't think I will. I'm so excited about all of them. And one thing that I always try to do with my crafting, just because I do have 5 children and I definitely have some in younger ages. And so one thing I always try to do is have kind of a portable project, whether that be knitting or something like that. Mostly knitting, let's be honest. But I always try to have like a small portable project that I can do that is mindless, and like a stockinette hat. I mean, it's a great project to carry around when you're helping children or you're right in the mix. But then I try to have kind of like a more complicated or longer project just because that's nice to challenge myself, and I feel like it's a long-term project, so I'm not having to constantly think, oh, what am I going to work on next, and have to, I guess, make the decision on a project. And so I try to have a good balance between like a short-term project and a long-term project, if that makes sense. And so that is kind of always my idea behind my projects and how I plan them out. But yeah, it's been very satisfying, and I'm really enjoying every minute of crafting. So I will be having a shop update this week. My update will be this Friday, November 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. And in addition to that, I will be offering a coupon code beginning this Friday through Sunday. And if you use the code THANKYOU2020 at checkout, you will receive 15% off every order you purchase. There's no limit. And the only limit is it's limited to in-stock items only. And so it excludes pre-orders and gift cards. I wanted to do this to give back to you, to thank you for supporting Pineapple Yarn this year, because without you, Pineapple Yarn wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be able to follow my passion of creating beautiful, bright, bold, hand-dyed yarn and candles and clubs and spinning fiber. All these things bring me so much joy, and I hope they're bringing joy to you too, especially this year. I think we all need some bright colors, some joy in our lives. So please use that code THANKYOU2020 at checkout Friday through Sunday to receive 15% off every order you purchase. I will be uploading an episode of my shop update preview right after this. So if you're interested to see in all of the new goodies I'll be putting in the shop, please check that out. And it's just fun. I love seeing what other makers put into their shops. I love engaging in all of that. So even if you just want to ogle at beautiful yarn and fiber, definitely check that out. It's really fun. And if you're into yarn and fiber as much as I am, I know you'll love it. So thank you again for joining me. If you liked this video, I'd love if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I post every week a new video about what I'm making and what I've purchased and all the fun things that I have going on with my crafting life. And my shop update videos are posted every other week. And then here and there, I like to kind of sprinkle in project videos. Hopefully in 2021 and at the end of this year, I would love to post more of those because I think all of you really love those. And I love seeing other makers' project videos and what they're doing. I really, really have been into those lately. So hopefully I can give back and post some of my own as well. But that's enough for today. Enough talking, enough chit chat. I hope you're doing so well. If you celebrate Thanksgiving here in the States, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're with people you love. I hope you can find tons in your life that you are thankful for. And I'm thankful so much for all of you, of course. So thankful for your community and support. I will see you again next week. And until then, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.